There are 5 work habits that will guarantee you do not become a millionaire. Yes, that is correct. You heard me right. If you do these 5 things, you will not become a millionaire. You will not become financially free. You will not pass go and collect $200. Uriel came here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals and coaches build scalable and transformational coaching businesses without the grind. And you're here because you want to reach, teach, and influence more people. You want to make more money, live a better quality of life in the service of other people. So whether you want to become a millionaire or become financially free is irrelevant to me. And I want you to know that it's not about the tactics. Yes, strategy and the work obviously is important, but you will not do the right work if these 5 habits are in place in your life. So without any further ado, let's dive in. The first work habit that you must avoid is starting each day checking your phone, checking email, playing on social media. The more you do that, the more you push back your life's work. Here's a really simple question. In any given moment of the day, especially first thing, if you're on your phone, ask yourself, am I creating or am I consuming? There are 2 types of people in this world, those who create and those who consume. But guess where the money is? It's in the creation. You create something, someone else buys it to consume it, right? That's how it works. People who go shopping all the time, they're just consuming. They're not creating any value. They're not useful to the world in that sense, other than moving money, right? But the most important thing you can do first thing in the morning, as early as possible, is do your most important work, your life's work, the most important projects that you have to put your time and focus into to move your business forward. And honestly, it has nothing to do with the internet. So me shooting this video right now is an example of my life's work. It's a very important thing for me to do to share my message. But guess what? I don't have to be connected to the internet to shoot this video. I shoot the video. I create a bit of an outline. I shoot the video and I don't have to be connected to the internet. After it's done, yeah, we'll upload it to the internet. But if I start fiddling around on social media or I check my email and I get an email that I don't want to see, all of a sudden my head is in the wrong space. And you will be derailed by other people's priorities if you put them first instead of yourself. So that's the first work habit we want to avoid, is messing around in the morning. Instead, get right into your top most important stuff. And very often it's the stuff that you're delaying on. It's the stuff that doesn't feel comfortable, like, oh man, I got to put this presentation together, write this email, create this webinar, whatever it is. But that's the most important stuff you have to do. You have to go through it to get to it, move through the resistance. Second work habit that will guarantee you don't become a millionaire is never looking at your bank accounts. I remember when I was dead broke way back in the day, I had this anxiety of looking at my bank account because there was nothing in it. And I understand if that's your situation or if you're making way more money, that's great, whatever. You have to look at your bank account on a daily basis. What gets measured gets managed. If you are looking at your numbers, at least you'll be visible of them. It's like weighing yourself, right? Studies have shown in weight loss studies, like people who simply step on the scale lose weight because they're more mindful and they're more aware of what the numbers look like. So if you were aware that you have $1 million in your bank or $1,000 or like whatever it is, at least you're aware of it. And it also shows the universe energetically that you give a shit, right? Because where attention goes, energy flows and results show. So make sure on a daily basis, you look at your bank account every single day. Third work habit that will ensure you don't become a millionaire is avoiding hard conversations. Now, this one I'm very guilty of, and it's probably one of the skills I've had to work on the most in the past couple of years. In my previous company, I had people on my team that were there for a few years that probably should not have been there. And here's the acid test when it comes to people on your team. Knowing what I know now, would I hire this person again? And if the answer is no, that's an opportunity for a hard conversation to ultimately let them go. Now, you never want to surprise anyone. It should never come as a surprise. And this is why hard conversations are so important. Whether it's a performance review, whether it's your one-on-ones with them, whatever it is, you have to let people know where they stand often. So if, God forbid, you guys decide to part ways, there's no hard feelings, there's no surprises. It's just like, hey man, we talked about the performance. It just wasn't there. And I don't think this is working out. As opposed to them thinking everything is great. And then you're like, you're fired. Now that's an example of with a team member, but this goes also for clients. Right? Setting boundaries. It could be with friends or family members. Everything you want in life is on the other side of hard conversations, right? So how often and how frequently and how fast you're willing to have them will dictate how fast you're able to go. Here's the thing. As soon as you know the conversation has to be had, as soon as you find yourself biting your tongue, that's when you have to have the conversation. And I know it sucks. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's important and you will get better at having those conversations. And you'll recognize, you know what? It wasn't that bad after all. Really important to have these hard conversations. 4, trying to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. There is no perfect. It's only better. Progress over perfection. I think a lot of health professionals get stuck in their head, and I share this from personal experience of working with thousands of them and being one myself, is we get stuck in our head because we want it to be perfect because that's just the way we are sometimes. And here's my antidote to that, is if you're delaying putting stuff out there because you want it to be perfect, just remember that you're being selfish, right? You have this expertise and knowledge that could help a lot of people, and right now they don't know you exist. Right now they don't know you have this solution because you think it needs to be perfect. They're just like, I don't care. I just need to know what to do. And you're like, hold on, I need to make it perfect first. And therefore they are suffering in silence. You don't know they exist. They don't know you exist. They're not being helped. You're not helping them. You're not making money, yet you're in your head. So we got to fix nervous with service. Get out of your own way. It's about making it good enough. Get it out there, and it's good enough as it is. You only have to be a few steps ahead of your clients, and you will make it better if it's a coaching program or curriculum with their feedback, right? You have to test your ideas in the market, not in your mind. Number 5, majoring in minors or majoring in the minors. You might be very busy, and this is probably the most common thing we see coming in. Oh, Yuri, this all sounds great. Sounds like a lot of work. I'm really busy. I have a lot on my plate. Oh, cool. Awesome. I get that. So number 1, you don't want to actually achieve the goal you said, or what that ultimately tells me is if you're really busy right now and you're not where you want to be, you've been doing the wrong things. My goal is not to give you more stuff to do. My goal is to look at everything you're doing, give you a stick of dynamite to help you understand, to blow all that shit up because it's not working. The goal is not to do more stuff, it's to do the right stuff. And right now, if you're not where you want to be and you feel like you've been working really hard, you have to understand this. Please lean in and listen close. If you are busy and you're not where you want to be, you've been doing the wrong things. Now, that's fine, assuming you don't know what to do outside of those things. And that's why it's very important to find some type of mentorship or coaching to show you what to do instead. That's why people pay us money to help them get through this stuff and grow their business. Instead of worrying about putting more stuff on your plate, it's about removing stuff. It's very much like with health. It's more important to remove the toxins or the problematic foods than over inundating your body with all the good ones a lot of times, right? That's why water fasting can be one of the best things you can ever do for your health, because it just removes stuff and then your body does what it's got to do. Now, the simplest way to do this is to identify the main constraint in your business. How do I do that, Yuri? Good question. Let me ask you this. Do you track any kind of metrics or data in your business with respect to your business model? That's where it starts, because you might think something's a constraint, but it's not. And the only way to identify it is by looking at the numbers. So when we're working with clients, they have a critical number sheet that tracks 11 critical numbers. And when someone's like, yeah, I don't have enough calls booked, I'm like, cool, I don't give a shit. Show me your numbers. Oh, you spent $50 in ads. Let's talk next week when you spent a little bit more. Don't come crying to me if you spent $5 in ads and know how many calls booked. Let's come back on planet Earth and recognize what it takes to get volume of leads coming through your pipeline. Now, if you spent $10,000 in ads and you have 2,000 leads and you have, a trickle down effect from there, now we can start looking at your numbers and saying, you know what? Where do you think the constraint is? Based on the fact, we can see all the numbers, there's a good volume of data. Where do you think the problem is, knowing what you know now? Now, again, this is in the context of us working with other clients. So you might be like, Yuri, I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. That's okay. But you have to understand what your business model looks like. How do you attract clients? How do you convert them? Or how do you attract leads? How do you convert them into clients? And how do you deliver results? You have to track metrics in that whole process. Because if you don't, you're just guessing. What's your close rate? It's pretty good. I don't care what pretty good is. What's the percentage? 72, 18, 33. I need to know the number. What's your cost per call booked? What's your cost per lead? What's your book to close rate? What's your lead decline rate? If you're like, I don't know these numbers, well, here's the problem, is that you will continue staying busy until you understand what these numbers are, how to track them, where they show up in the business, and most importantly, what to do when they are not what they're supposed to be. So for instance, if your lead to call booked ratio is lower than ideal, what do? Do you change the sales mechanism like the webinar? Do you change your ads? Do you change the application, right? Unless you know what to do, you're not going to do the thing. And if you don't know how to do the thing, then you're always going to be spinning your wheels, not moving forward. This is why it's so important to hire people or a person or a coach who's been there and done that hundreds or thousands of times, like I have and our team have. And I'm not saying you have to work with us, but you can't work by yourself expecting miracles to happen if you're not there yet, because you simply don't know what you don't know. And that's the biggest danger in your business, because this fifth piece, majoring in minors, is you're doing a lot of stuff that is irrelevant. You're doing a lot of stuff that is not moving the needle. And you have to look at, I need to major in the major things, not the little things that don't make any difference. What tech platform do you use? Who cares? What CRM do you use to post on social media? Who cares? None of that stuff matters. The tech is irrelevant. It's helpful, it's good to know, it's useful, but it's not important. What is important? The psychology. You focus on the psychology, you win. You obsess and you whine and you get stuck in the technology, you lose. That's an example of minors versus majors. Understanding how people behave, understanding how people think, how to understand or understanding how to influence people. That's a major. Minor is, what template in Canva should I use to post on Instagram? Who cares? And if you are buying stuff from people online, selling that stuff, you know that they are majoring in minors as well. And that should be a warning sign. So those are the 5 work habits that will ensure you do not become financially free. You do not become a millionaire, and you do not build a business that impacts more lives in a significant way. So let's quickly recap what those 5 are. Number 1 is starting each day checking your email and phone and social media. Don't do that stuff, okay? Get your life's work done first thing in the morning. Attack it with fervor, if that's even a word. 2, never looking at your bank account. Instead, look at your bank account on a daily basis. Number 3, avoiding having hard conversations. Instead, have the hard conversations that feel uncomfortable often and as quickly as you can. 4 is trying to be perfect. Focus on progress over perfection and understanding that you will get feedback from the market much more than your mind. So get it out there. Minimum viable product, course correct over time. And 5 is majoring in the minors. Don't get just busy with doing stuff. You have an 8-hour day, awesome. Of those 8 hours, which actually move the needle with important stuff? You have to identify the number 1 core constraint in your business at any given time, attack it with all of your energy, solve that, and then you move on to the next core constraint. And if you don't know how to identify those constraints, it's very, very important that you seek out coaching or mentorship from someone who can show you what that is and how to fix it. Otherwise, you will continue being busy and you'll stay exactly where you are. In this video, I want to share with you the expectations versus the reality of building a successful business in today's landscape online.